Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hive. Be in the know, stories about Medina City Schools. I'm Amy Busby, Director of Community Relations, and your host for today's episode. In this episode, we will spotlight the powerful work happening inside our classrooms. This episode is about deeper learning, what it looks like, why it matters, and how students benefit as they shape their futures. Today, I'm joined by Tina Cassidy, Director of Instruction, Sarah Jackson, Assistant Director of Instruction, Tiffany Cosman, Instructional Coach, Amanda Doty, Principal of Northrop Elementary, Sarah Draglibus, 5th grade teacher. All right, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And students from Northrop who will talk about the Portrait of a Bee, our guiding North Star. You'll also hear about the capstone projects happening in 5th, 8th, and 12th grade that are bringing the portrait to life in powerful, meaningful ways. So let's begin with the heart of it all. So the Portrait of a Bee. Let's start by better understanding what it is and why it's foundational to our district. And for that conversation, I'd like to welcome Tina Cassidy to provide us with a little bit of background.
Yes, thank you. The Portrait of a Bee is one of the things that we're most proud of in our district. It was the work of all of our stakeholders. We had a committee of 80 stakeholders, teachers, community members, administrators, parents, students, all come together and decide what is it that we want our students to become? What do we want our students to have when they leave Medina City Schools? And what they came up with was critical thinkers, resilient lifelong learners, innovative problem solvers, creative collaborators and communicators, and engaged, respectful citizens. So it's bigger than just rigorous academics, which of course we are all about, but it's also about the soft skills, the life skills that will make our students successful. And how we kind of marry the rigorous academics with those competencies is what we call deeper learning. It's a learning process that's not just about memorizing answers. It's about asking the right questions, thinking deeply, learning from mistakes, and working together to tackle real-world challenges. So the portrait helps us to ensure we're preparing students not only for college or careers, but for a world that we can't truly predict.
That's true, and I kind of want to back up a little bit because you talked about how we went through the process of creating our portrait. And one really, fun fact about that is that we engaged all those 80 people virtually because this was done during COVID.
Yes.
So we not only worked on our portrait of a bee, but we also integrated our strategic plan around that. So, it was consistent. Those 80 people came at every meeting. They always had something to contribute. So it truly was a community project.
Absolutely it was.
So let's move into what deeper learning looks like in action. So to help us better understand the implementation and the impact, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Jackson, who's the Assistant Director of Instruction, and she's been a key leader in helping lead the charge on the capstone projects.
So the capstone project has really been one of the most exciting parts of our deeper learning journey. And in Medina City Schools, the capstones occur at 5th, 8th, and 12th grade. And it really is a culminating experience and an opportunity for students to reflect on their growth within the Portrait of a Bee competencies and to apply those skills as they're working on projects and topics that they're really passionate and invested in. Through the capstone opportunities, they have a chance to research, collaborate, create, and present their learning to an audience. In 5th grade, our students are focused on career exploration projects where they have an opportunity to partner with one of our community members to really understand that career area and have a chance to solve a real life problem presented by that partner they're working with. In 8th grade, our students, they identify a passion project, and they think about how this area that they've identified aligns to the global goals and what they can do with that area of interest. And in 12th grade, our students are designing projects to think about the impact that they can have on the school and community. Across all of these grade levels, these projects are authentic, rigorous, and really reflective on our Portrait of a Bee competencies.
So talk a little bit about the capstones and the presentations that the students need to make, and kind of what they need to do, and how they need to present whatever project they've been working on.
Yeah. Having the opportunity for our students to share their process, really, it is so impactful to hear from them what these projects have meant. You see how much they grow in their confidence as a learner, their growth in the competencies that they're focused on. I mean, to be able to have a 5th grader, an 8th grader, and even a 12th grader stand up in front of an audience or someone that is interviewing them to hear about the project and for them to be able to communicate it, these are the skills that they're going to take away for a lifetime.
Yeah, and I've had the opportunity to go and actually work with the students on some of their capstone projects and listen to them present their learning. And I think I've said this before, is especially someone in 5th grade. When I was in 5th grade, there would have been absolutely no way I would have been able to stand up in front of my peers, let alone adults, and deliver a presentation like they do. And it's something actually that you would probably see from a college student.
We had the opportunity to listen to a couple today, and it's just so amazing the lessons that they take away, the reflection that they're able to do on these projects. We had a middle school student say that she felt like she became a better problem solver just by going through this process, and we had seniors say that they learned they had to take feedback. So these are just valuable life lessons, and they really internalize them through these projects.
Yeah, and sometimes, you talk about feedback. Sometimes the feedback is not always easy to take, but it's very valuable, and that's exactly how you grow.
Yeah.
So now we're going to kind of take a spin to the classroom and take a look at our portrait through the lens of an instructional coach. So Tiffany will talk with you about that. But to better understand how the portrait of a bee is transforming instruction across classrooms, maybe you can talk about how you support the teachers in designing their learning experiences and their curriculum, and how they align with the portrait competencies and the deeper learning principles.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Amy. As an instructional coach, I've had the privilege of working alongside teachers across grade levels and buildings to bring the portrait of a bee to life in meaningful ways. What I see every day is how powerful it is when teachers intentionally embed these competencies, resilience, collaboration, critical thinking, into their instruction. It's not about adding more to the teacher's plate. It's about shifting how we design our learning so that students are doing the thinking and making decisions and reflecting on their growth. I've worked with teams on everything from inquiry-based projects to integrating reflection tools that help students recognize their own development as portrait learners. One of the most exciting shifts is how the students are beginning to talk about themselves, not just in terms of their grades, but as thinkers and as leaders in their classrooms. That's when you know that the portrait work is really making a difference. It's not just something that we have on the wall or that we talk about. It's the language and the planning and the culture of the classrooms and the buildings.
And it's on every wall in every classroom. So there's constant reminder of what this looks like. From an instructional coach standpoint, maybe you can talk about, there's several instructional coaches within the district, and how you guys collaborate and how you get to these points in working with the portrait.
Absolutely. We work together frequently to bounce ideas off of each other and to also work with our teachers and come up with just the right strategies for students and teachers to utilize in the classroom that work with the curriculum in the classroom, the academic curriculum, to really enhance what students are learning academically, but through the portrait of B competencies as well. So teachers will look for opportunities to provide students with connections outside the classroom to help understand how lifelong learning is something that doesn't stop when you are a senior and you graduate. They intentionally design lessons to have students collaborate with each other. They also spend a lot of time working with students on reflecting on their own learning and their own where they're at with the competencies and how that growth has gone on throughout the course of the year. As instructional coaches, we meet to make sure that we're sharing the same resources, or when someone has a great idea or has seen something that really works in a classroom, that they are able to share that amongst our team so that we can implement that in other places as well.
So there's a lot of collaboration and consistency.
Yes.
By working together.
Absolutely.
And that's something that our coaches are really good at, is matching our teachers with resources in the community to deepen the learning experiences. And I know even the community members have said what a great experience it was for them to work with our kids. So it's really been positive on both ends.
And by involving the community, it also shows our community exactly what's happening in our classrooms, not just once a week, but every day. And once the students leave our four walls, these are things that they can carry with them and hopefully use in the real world.
Absolutely.
So let's zoom in on the fifth grade capstone work. And we have Amanda Doty, who's the principal here at Northrop, and Sarah Draplabus, who's our fifth grade teacher, which I got that right earlier.
You did.
So they're here to share how their students stepped into their capstone experience, and actually we're going to hear from one of our students.
Hello, my name's Angelo.
Nice. Welcome, Angelo.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So at Northrop, the fifth grade capstone project is actually, you guys have gone through that process already, right?
Yes, we have.
So maybe you guys can talk about how it's a celebration of everything really that the students have learned during the course of the year.
All right, so this year, students chose issues ranging from environmental care to inclusion on the playground. They conducted research, they interviewed community members, and designed their own solutions. So one group even proposed changes to our school's recycling program, complete with a cost analysis and posters for awareness. Another group focused on mental health awareness, creating a campaign to support their peers. These presentations were incredible, but what mattered most was watching students own their voices, collaborate respectively, and push themselves beyond their comfort zones. They didn't just learn, they led.
And I think a couple of experiences that our kids had that was really amazing was, as part of that playground research project, they also had the opportunity to present their findings to city council at a real city council meeting. So you think about, we teach standards about government and we want our kids to know about their community, and they got to see that and be a part of it in real life, which was incredible.
Yeah, which, earlier we talked about the students gaining a lot of self-confidence and just their ability to get up in front of the city council and actually present their idea and look for their feedback. And so, these are huge growth opportunities.
Yeah, and our community partners note that they're making an impact on their work. So sometimes I think we underestimate students of all ages, but especially to think, what could fifth graders bring to the table in terms of helping these business partners solve real life problems? And it's their ability to think creatively and through a different lens than maybe adults in the business world might think through, that have brought some great solutions. So they've increased engagement on an online book checkout system just from their idea to add emojis to it. Again, thinking what would entice kids. So they bring a different lens, and it's been really powerful for our community partners.
Yeah, and certainly, as we already mentioned, that it just gives them an opportunity to really know and understand what our kids are doing in class.
And I think with that, we can hear a voice. Angelo, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So tell everyone about the Career Exploration Project.
So it's this type of it's a learning program that's different from others. You get a community member that comes in from a variety of jobs. I got a graphic designer, Mrs. Doty's brother, Mr. Finley.
Woohoo!
And we talked a bit and we got to know each other a bit more. It was pretty cool.
Is an okay dude, huh? Yeah.
So go ahead and share, Angelo, what did your group come up with?
So our problem was how to promote like a big event that's going on in our school. Our first activity that we did was a video for book fair, which we did it in an amount of like maybe a week or two or so. And so we got a few kids, me, Haven, Owen, and Abigail, and we went down to the library when the book fair was happening, and we took a video to promote just a few books, to give like a brief interview, and then we turned it into our teacher to put it up on Morning Motivator.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the feedback that you received from Mr. Finley? Like, what were your strengths? What did he say maybe you can improve upon?
So first, when he came in that day, he said it was amazing. It was colorful. It was cool. He gave us a big compliment that was we were better than some of his workers. And he said our strengths were definitely creativity, drawing, and like actually promoting it. He said as like maybe like to like get better at is like maybe like promote it in like more ways. It was really cool.
And then tell us the difference between you sitting in a reading class or a math class or a science class compared to career exploration.
I think it's way different because in a career exploration, I think I said that right. It's really cool. You get to let your imagination roam out. You get to draw, sketch, edit, and then in just reading, writing, and science, you can have maybe some worksheets or like read a book. It was just amazing. It was so fun. I definitely recommend this.
I have to agree, and I think this experience is one of the things that I love most. It's different than kind of traditional learning that you might think of in schools, right? And it gives kids who maybe might not have a lot of success or might struggle in some of those other content areas a way to find success and confidence that they might not have if they didn't have this opportunity. So I think the access for our students to find themselves and also to see, you know, when we collaborate with our community partners and look at possible careers, we have so many different represented, and they are people who might have gone to a trade school or who might be self-taught. And that's really important for our kids to see that there is a future that may or may not include college, and you can be successful if you really hone in on these skills that we work hard to be, you know, a problem solver and a collaborator and a communicator.
Yeah, and I would suspect that by doing projects like this, that you felt like you were more engaged in your learning.
Yeah, oh yeah.
For sure.
From a principal perspective, behavior is lowest and engagement is highest when they're doing this kind of work.
Yeah, because your brain is busy, right? Mm-hmm. And you're working on things that are of interest to you. So that's why they call them passion projects, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Is there anything else you want to add?
I definitely suggest this for next year. It was really fun. I really liked it. It was definitely interesting. You got to do a lot of fun stuff. And it got a lot of people that would be quiet to get them like speak out more and more confident. I liked it. It was really fun.
Love it. Love it. Well, what we've heard about today is more than a program. It's a culture of possibility. Deeper Learning and the Portrait of a Bee help our students become not just graduates, but leaders, innovators, and change makers. So that's all for today's episode. Thanks to Tina Cassidy, Sarah Jackson, Tiffany Cosman, Amanda Doty, Sarah Drablebus, and Angelo, our incredible student, for sharing your story.
Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us for today's discussion. We look forward to you joining us again for more stories, updates, and conversations next month. Until then, stay curious and stay connected. This is The Hive, Be in the Know, stories about Medina City Schools.